Thank you, Minister. Okay, the next topical issue is from Deputy Terence Flanagan. To the Minister of Children and Youth Affairs, the need to reduce the burden of childcare costs. Deputy, you have 4 minutes to make an initial statement.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and I thank the Minister for being present here to take this topical debate, and the Cancórla's office for the opportunity of raising this very important issue. And I suppose it's an issue that's been around and been talked about for the last 10 or 15 years, the high cost of childcare. And it really is unfair on parents, Minister, as you're very aware. I mean, the financial strains that families are under, particularly young families, having to pay for childcare. You're talking €2,000 per month for 2 children to be kept in childcare facilities. And that's extremely difficult on families' budgets, family budgets, considering all the other cuts that people have had to take in recent years because of the economic situation of the country, having to pay a property tax, a water charge, universal social charges, and because of the high cost of childcare, it has made it not financially feasible for both parents to actually work in the workplace. That it would make more sense for one of the parents that they have to give up work in order to look after their children, even though they have a desire to get back into the workforce. And Minister, as you're aware, there was a study conducted there entitled the Baby Drain Study, and that concluded that 3,000 new mothers leave the workforce annually, which costs 68 million in recruitment and training costs every year. So it is having a detrimental effect on, I suppose, the economy, that we need to keep women in the workforce and contributing as well towards the tax coffers as well. But it's uneconomic at the moment, and myself and my colleagues in Renew It have come up with a policy, and I suppose particularly with the economic situation improving in the country, that you need to look towards a tax credit to be provided to parents and also to creche providers in order to help these hard-pressed, and the squeezed middle, I suppose, is what a lot of families out there are. They're being sandwiched with all the different costs and cuts that they're actually taking, and the whole inflexibility as well in relation to maternity leave, that needs to be looked at. And we're proposing that the 6 months maternity leave could be taken by each of the parents, that they could take 3 months each, and that would be, would be renamed as parental leave. And I suppose if we look again at the local property tax as well, like that was to provide money locally to help improve communities, and that hasn't happened at all. And the Commission of Taxation, as you know, Minister, they recommended that a site valuation charge be introduced back in 2013, and if that had been introduced, that would ring-fence money and ensure that there were more affordable childcare facilities in the communities were made available, and that would take the unfair burden off families. So that's something I ask you and plead you to look at on behalf of families, to ensure that there are more community facilities available, that we do have a lot of talented women out there who are denied their opportunity of contributing in and playing their part in the workforce because of these exorbitant high creche fees that they're charging. So I suppose in conclusion, Minister, if you can outline your own plan of action there, and I know you're in discussions with the Minister for Finance, that you have set up a cross-departmental group, and that they're going to come up with recommendations by the summer as to what way you're going to deal with this whole issue. I suppose the second year of the ECCE scheme as well, I know that has been mooted and talked about before, so just if you can set out as to how you feel you're going to deal with this whole area of high childcare costs.
Thank you, Deputy Flanagan. Minister, calling you to reply. You have 4 minutes.
And I'm very pleased to answer the Deputy and to outline the Government's position in relation to childcare, and I thank him for his question. High quality and well-structured investment in the early years of a child's life is now widely recognised as being one of the most strategic investments we can make with public funding. Children are at a critical stage in their development in their early years, and we have a golden opportunity to set children on the right path for their futures, indeed in a very real way for all our futures, if we invest wisely in them at this stage. But of course, children are not only the only beneficiaries, because when children are given real opportunities to develop to the fullest of their potential, we all benefit. Patients, families, communities, and the wider society and economy. And it's because this government recognises the critical importance of investment in children's early years that we worked so hard to protect expenditure in this area despite the dire economic circumstances this government inherited. The Department of Children and Youth Affairs invests over €250 million in childcare each year, and that's before spending on children by other departments is taken into consideration. This government is well aware that Ireland's investment in this area is lower than many other countries and OECD countries, and that parents face considerable difficulties in accessing quality and affordable childcare. Currently, government constrained in our ability to significantly increase that investment, the recovery in public finances is not yet complete and resources do remain limited. Further, I am strongly committed to ensuring that every euro we invest in our children is invested wisely, and we know that this is the area where we get the biggest return for every euro we invest. There are a number of programmes in place to support parents with childcare costs. The most significant of these in terms of state investment is the Early Childhood Care and Education Programme. This universal programme provides for 1 year of free preschool for all eligible children before commencing primary school. Over €170 million is invested in this programme annually, reducing the childcare costs of parents by over €2,300 per child. And around 67,000 children benefit from the guaranteed investment that this programme provides. The Community Childcare Subvention Programme funds community not-for-profit childcare services to allow them to provide quality childcare at reduced rates to disadvantaged and low-income working parents. More than 25,000 children benefit from this programme annually. A number of further initiatives have been introduced under the training and employment childcare programmes to support parents who are participating in training or educational courses in order to return to the workforce. These initiatives include the Childcare Education and Training Support Programme, which provides subsidised childcare places to qualifying trainees or students for the duration of their courses. The After School Childcare Programme provides after-school care for primary school children for certain categories of working parents for a year. Last year, this programme was enhanced in a number of ways, including providing funding for a pick-up service at no extra cost to parents where providers are in a position to provide this. Community employment schemes often provide the first opportunity for parents to engage in the workforce. The Community Employment Childcare Programme subsidises the cost of childcare for participating parents. Following a number of enhancements, the programme now includes an after-school childcare option at a weekly cost of €15 for parents of primary school children, as well as a part-time daycare option for up to 10 weeks during school holidays. The Department of Children and Youth Affairs has been working closely with the Department of Social Protection to ensure that these initiatives provide the maximum benefit to parents in an economy that is now delivering an increased number of work opportunities. The current level of state investment in childcare at over €250 million per year is nonetheless very substantial. To ensure that all the benefits of childcare investment are fully realised, public investment in childcare must be evidence-based and strategically coordinated. In order to develop a coherent whole-of-government approach to childcare investment, I have established an interdepartmental group to examine and develop options for future investment in childcare, both in the early years and for school-aged children. The work of the group will be informed by documented best practice, current policy commitments and through consultation with the relevant stakeholders. On the 31st of March, an open policy debate was attended by some 40 invited representatives, including parents, childcare providers, academics, childcare committees and non-governmental organisations. A range of views on future policy directions were put forward and a number of options for future investment were examined and discussed. A report of the debate is currently being compiled and it will be published in due course. An online consultation process was also provided for both stakeholders with an interest in the field, including policymakers, practitioners, providers, advocates and academics, and one specifically for parents and guardians. Almost 400 submissions were made by stakeholders and nearly 1,000 submissions were made by parents and guardians. These submissions will feed into the deliberations of the interdepartmental group, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all who made submissions for doing so.
Thank you.
I've asked the group to consider a wide range of options which must be rigorously analysed and properly costed to develop sensible solutions to the challenges families face, rather than an expensive shopping list of like-to-haves. I've asked that the final report of this group be submitted to me by the summer next month, in fact, to inform government deliberations on this important area.
Deputy Flanagan, 2 minutes for a supplementary
Thank you, Laskin Corley. I thank the Minister for his response. I suppose the crux of the matter is that childcare costs, Minister, were one of the most expensive in the world, up there with the US, and we're talking €2,000 per month for having 2 children in childcare in creche facilities, and that's absolutely a shocking indictment of the situation. And we're told financially that the country, that we're in a better position, that we'll have 500 million to 750 million to give out in budget in the next budget 2016. So are you looking towards a tax credit to be provided to couples so that particularly women, talented women, can remain in the workforce to help them towards the cost of a mortgage? It's a second mortgage, as you know, in a lot of cases for a lot of families, and it is costing the economy a lot of money, as I previously quoted there by the study, the brain drain study, that 3,000 new mothers leave the workforce annually, which is costing 68 million. So we're depriving women of the opportunity to work, and this can easily be remedied. I know that financially the country has been in a very bad place over the last 10 years or so, but now is the prime opportunity to help the squeezed middle and families out there who are facing huge costs on a daily and a weekly basis. So hopefully it can provide some hope to those people, Minister.
Now the Minister to conclude.
And well, again, just to thank the Deputy, and just to make a number of points. Very often people quote 0.2% as what this government spends in relation to children when compared to other OECD countries, but the reality is it's more than about 0.4%, which is still lower than it should be when you take into account the monies we spend elsewhere through education, social protection, and indeed now our commitment, which I commend Minister Kathleen Lynch and Minister Leo Varadkar on, the new initiative to give free GP care to all children under 6. In relation to this whole area of early childhood education, I just this morning launched a new initiative called Better Start, which is to support the ECHE providers, that is the early childhood care and education providers. It's a mentoring service with 30 highly qualified mentors to go to visit and support providers with ongoing advice on how to improve quality and care in the work they do. And I really do welcome this as an initiative that I think speaks to supporting people as they continue their professional development through life, which is something I think we need to do in all areas, and something which is there for years with doctors and nurses. In relation to the cost of childcare in this country, it is like a second mortgage for many families, and many families are struggling, and the government acknowledged that, and that's why this group was put together, not to come up with a wish list, as I said, but to come up with properly analysed, evidence-based options for government to choose from, with them properly costed so they know the implications, to start a process to address this. I have to say I favour a situation that gives parents choice, but also affords opportunity for the government to have an input into standards and quality of the placements available, much like the ECHE programme works now. I believe we do need more investment in childcare, and I'll be very strongly fighting for that.
Thank you, Mr.
Because I believe the costs here, as you compare them to the United States, are not that they're out of kilter per se, but that our ability to subsidise people's cost care is the issue, and we need to address that.